Welcome to the Windsors Fans channel. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and show some love too. I am your host, Liza. Here we delve into the fascinating world of the British monarchy, shining a light on the lives of the Windsors. Whether you're a die-hard royal enthusiast or just casually curious, there's always something captivating in store for you. Today, we dive into the intriguing topic of Prince William's taxes and Duchy of Cornwall finances. None of the Windsors are big on public disclosures, but you might be surprised to learn that King Charles, during his tenure as Prince of Wales, was quite open compared to the rest. His willingness to disclose information about his income, staffing, and taxes was a departure from the norm, a breath of fresh air in an environment often shrouded in secrecy. King Charles's transparency extended to the Duchy of Cornwall's finances. This duchy, a private estate established in the 14th century, has been the source of income for the Prince of Wales for generations. During his time as prince, Charles took the unprecedented step of publishing the duchy's accounts, providing an insight into the financial workings of this royal institution. It wasn't just finances that Charles was open about. He also disclosed information about his staff. The Prince of Wales's office, known as Clarence House, once published an annual review which included details of the number of staff employed, their roles, and even some information about their demographics. But with King Charles's ascent to the throne, the Prince of Wales title and its associated responsibilities have now passed to his eldest son, Prince William. Yet, it seems Prince William is charting his own course, a path that veers away from his father's openness. He's adopted a more traditional Windsor approach to public disclosures, or rather, the lack thereof. William has been notably more guarded about his financial affairs, his office staff, and their operations. The annual review, once a staple of Clarence House, has disappeared under his stewardship, leaving royal watchers to speculate on the workings of the prince's office. The question of transparency isn't just about satisfying public curiosity, it's about accountability and the relationship between the monarchy and the people. As the Windsors are funded in part by the public purse, there's an argument to be made that they owe it to the people to be open about how that money is spent. Now, Prince William has taken a different approach. Whether this shift will impact the public's perception of the monarchy, only time will tell. Shock of all shocks, William is secretive and squirrely. Yes, folks, you heard it right. The Duke of Cambridge, Prince William, has a penchant for keeping things under wraps. And we're not talking about Christmas presents. We're delving into something far more significant: his undisclosed income, staffing details, and tax situation. Unlike his father, King Charles, who was arguably the most transparent Windsor when it came to financial disclosures, William seems to be taking a different path, a path shrouded in secrecy. The young prince has taken the reins of his role as Prince of Wales, but has left many in the dark when it comes to his finances, his staff, and his tax contributions. Now, you may wonder, why is it important to know about a royal's income or staff? Well, the truth is, these details provide a glimpse into the operations and management of the royal household. They reflect the standards and values upheld by the royals, hinting at the priorities and preferences of those in power. So what do we know about William's finances? To put it bluntly, not much. The prince has been less than forthcoming about his income, leaving many to speculate about the sources and amounts. His office staff, too, remains a mystery, with no clear data on how many people work for him, who they are, and what roles they play. But perhaps the most intriguing part of this secrecy surrounds his tax situation. While it's no secret that the royals are exempt from certain taxes, the specific details of William's tax contributions remain undisclosed. This lack of transparency has raised many eyebrows, with critics arguing that it undermines the principle of accountability that is so important in public life. It's a stark contrast to his father's approach. King Charles was known for his openness about his finances, including his income, staffing, and tax details. His transparency set a precedent that many expected his son to follow. But as we're seeing, Prince William is carving out his own path, one that keeps these details hidden from the public eye. But that's not all. Let's take a closer look at the staffing situation inside Kensington Palace. As we delve into the heart of the palace, a pattern begins to emerge. It's a pattern that speaks volumes about the dynamics of power and privilege within these hallowed halls. The upper echelons of Kensington Palace are heavily populated by white men in executive positions, a fact that's impossible to ignore. These men hold the reins of power, steering the course of the palace's operations and shaping its public image. They are the decision-makers, the strategists, the ones who call the shots. And who do they command? A staff composed predominantly of women, many of whom are on the younger side and relatively inexperienced. It's a setup that begs the question, why is there such a stark gender divide in the palace's power structure? But the imbalances don't stop there. When we consider the ethnic makeup of the palace staff, another troubling trend comes to light. Despite the rich cultural diversity of the United Kingdom, only 14% of Kensington Palace employees come from minority backgrounds. And if we were to guess, we might speculate that a significant portion of this minority representation is Asian rather than black. This disparity underscores a pressing issue that extends far beyond the palace walls: the underrepresentation of ethnic minorities in positions of power and influence. It's a societal problem that demands our attention and action, and it's disheartening to see it mirrored in an institution as prestigious as Kensington Palace. It's high time the monarchy took a hard look at its staffing practices and made a concerted effort to promote diversity and inclusion. The palace could truly benefit from a wider range of perspectives and experiences, which would not only enrich its operations, but also reflect the diverse nation it represents. In summary, while Kensington Palace may be steeped in tradition and history, its staffing situation paints a picture of a power structure that's outdated and unrepresentative. There's certainly room for improvement in terms of diversity and representation. So, what does the public think about all this? The reactions have certainly been mixed. On one side, there are those who believe that Prince William, like any other citizen, has the right to privacy. They argue that his personal affairs, including his finances, should remain just that: personal. They contend that his role as a public figure does not automatically entitle the public to every detail of his life. On the other hand, there's a significant portion of the public who feel differently. They argue that the prince's position of power and privilege, funded in part by the public purse, demands a level of transparency that is currently lacking. There's been a noticeable outcry over the lack of diversity and gender imbalance within Kensington Palace's staffing. Many have voiced concerns about the apparent overrepresentation of white males in executive positions and the underrepresentation of minority groups. The latter is particularly significant, given that only 14% of the staff come from minority backgrounds. And while the palace's workforce may be diverse in some respects, there is a growing consensus that more can and should be done to promote equality and representation. What's more, there's a question hanging in the air. Why isn't there more criticism about William's obsession with privacy? Perhaps it's because the public is accustomed to the Windsors' discretion and reticence. Or perhaps it's because some feel that scrutinizing the personal finances of the royals is a step too far. However, it's clear from the public discourse that many feel the line between privacy and transparency has been blurred. There's a growing demand for greater clarity on how the Duchy of Cornwall's finances are managed, and a desire for more insight into the workings of the palace. In conclusion, there's a wide spectrum of opinion on this issue, but one thing is certain: the public's appetite for royal transparency is far from satisfied. It's clear that the public expects more transparency from their royals. As we wrap up our discussion today, we've delved deep into the world of the Windsors, shedding light on their approach to public disclosures. We've seen how King Charles led the way, setting a precedent of transparency that his son Prince William has chosen not to follow. We've peeked behind the curtains of Kensington Palace, exploring the dynamics of its staffing. From our exploration, we found a predominantly male executive team and a workforce that seems to be comprised of younger, perhaps less experienced females. The ethnic diversity at the palace also came under our scrutiny, with only 14% hailing from minority backgrounds. We've also touched on Prince William's elusive nature, particularly when it comes to revealing the nitty-gritty details of his finances. This secrecy extends to his tax situation and the specifics of his office staff, sparking curiosity and speculation amongst royal watchers. We invite you to join the conversation. What are your thoughts on the Windsors' approach to transparency? How do you feel about the staffing situation at Kensington Palace? And what about Prince William's secrecy surrounding his financial affairs? Your opinions matter, so feel free to share them in the comments section below. Thank you everyone for watching the video. Remember to leave a comment. Thank you. I am your loyal host, Liza.